Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Ghana Agenda. Today, I want to make sure my audio is well. So, first thing I'm going to do is definitely make sure my audio is well. Let me see, my output is coming out of the speaker. Okay. So today is May 18th, 2024. And welcome to the Ghana Agenda. My name is Afreda Muzu. Today, we have a lot for you. We have about 4 topics. Usually, as viewers of this show, we usually only do 2 topics, right? But this has been a very busy news week. We've had a lot to discuss, some of which we couldn't even fit on our menu of topics or issues that we wanted to talk about. So before we have, without further delay, that we would be canvassing for you today, or we'll be discussing with you today, our nursing training allowances politics. So, the former government had abolished nursing training allowances, but the current government, promised it was going to restore that, allow all the allowance for our nursing trainees, and I've been paying it erratically. So we want to look into, the state of nursing training allowances and whether, in fact, this is a policy that should actually continue or it's appropriate going forward. The second thing we will talk about is the Electoral Commission's press statements on Central Kofi Akpafo-Lolobi and Likpe traditional area, the area that, of course, did not vote in the parliamentary election in 2020. There was a press statement from the Electoral Commission. We're going to look into that statement and see if it is believable. Should we believe the Electoral Commission when he said what he said? We're also going to look at Canadian immigration versus the West African youth. It's important because apparently there was a conversation between the assistant to the president of Ghana and the Canadian embassy with regards to how much visas should be issued annually to, of course, unemployed Ghanaians who are fleeing the county, leaving the country to greener pastures in Canada. We'll talk about that. And then also the special prosecutor, whether or not he should be impeached. We know his former or his predecessor had tabled a petition that the president has forwarded to the Chief Justice, according to news reaching the Ghana Agenda desk, that he should be impeached. We have 2 videos that we will play. One would address reasons that were cited in that petition for his impeachment, and would also play Dr. Bawumia's position on the nursing training allowance. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to start the conversation. Today, I'll be joined with my regular panelists as usual. Paul Disosu speaks for the NDC from Massachusetts, and the Venerable Director of Communications USA, NPP, in the person of Afa Ameya. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show. My name is Alfred Amuzu, and you're on the Ghana Agenda. Today is May 18, 2024. So today we are talking about 4 different topics because we said this was being a very newsy week. It's been a lot of things actually happened this week. Usually by Thursday, thinking through what topics to discuss for the week. So it started slow. However, things picked up quickly, and there are things that we couldn't even fit on. The things the agenda for today. We're talking about comments made by the vice presidents with regards to whether churches should be paid or not be paid. He came back to say, "Oh, he was just joking." We couldn't talk about that. And we've also cited, publications out there circulating that the NDC directing its members to not necessarily campaign during this period because of the ongoing registrations, whether that is a missed opportunity, because what he did effectively is that he left Dr. Baumia by himself, doing his current tours. I know he went from Bono region and I think progressing through Savannah and to the northern regions. Whether that is giving an opportunity to the MPP to have unfettered access on the campaign trail, and whether the MPP by themselves are making all the mistakes. So, it probably didn't matter that the NDC is now even campaigning, because there is just so much subject matter from the things we are hearing from the vice president, and some of which will be canvassing for you today. I would be joined by my regular panelists in Nafamayao and also Paul Disosu. They've indicated they'll be here today. They are fired up. They are ready for, spirited debates over all the topics we tabled for the discussions today. And of course, as usual, we welcome your comments. Please send them to us if you observe something that you would like for us to talk about. If our sound is not working as usual, hopefully today we got it right. Talking about that, let me check. Yeah, it sounds like our sound is in good shape. Today, so no too much worries today. Okay, great. So moving on. So the 4 topics we would be discussing today are: 1, whether the special prosecutor should be impeached. So we know that a petition has been tabled to the president in accordance with the provisions of Act 959, which is the Special Prosecutors Act. I believe Section 15 of that also requires that the special prosecutor, if he has undertaken certain actions, that he should be removed. So I'm going to read briefly from that act. It says in Section 15(1) that a special prosecutor shall not be removed from office except, and when you see that except, it's going to add basically the reasons, or the reasons for which the special prosecutor can be removed. One of which is for stated misbehavior or incompetence. If the special prosecutor misbehaves or is incompetent, that is a cause for removal. Or if his incapacity to perform the function of the office by reason of infirmity or body or mind, infirmity of the body of the mind, or in other words, if he's become incapacitated mentally or physically to do the work, that is a good ground for impeachments. C of 1 says, so 15(1)(c) says, willful violation of the official oath or oath of secrecy. So if the Attorney General, if the OSP were to violate his oath of office or oath of secrecy, the president told him something, or something he learned on the job through the state secrecy from maybe the security services that he disclosed, he is subject to removal. Or D says, conduct which 1 brings or is likely to bring the office of the special prosecutor into disrepute, ridicule, or contempt. So anything that brings, in simple terms, disgrace to the office of special prosecutor is a subject matter for contempt proceedings, for impeachment proceedings, and subsequent removal. And second, under D says, if it's prejudicial or inimical to the economy or security of the state. So some of these are what Mr. Amidou launched on. Mr. Amidou being the predecessor to the current special prosecutor, launched on to make his petition for removal. I hear someone joining. Perhaps is that my? Let me see. Okay, so I see my guys are joining now. Nanayao Sari has joined. Who else has joined? Paul Isosu also joined. So let me bring them in. And then, oh man, this is a very pleasant surprise. Mr. Nanayao Asari Ampasan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Hamid. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. I think Paul Isosu is on. I'm going to bring him as well. Paul Isosu, can you also hear us? Welcome to the show, Paul.
Good afternoon to you. I can hear you very perfectly. I'm happy to be here. I just hope Nanaya will not come and throw mischief, propaganda, and lies this afternoon, because I'm really, really on fire for him this afternoon, and he knows it. So I'm happy to be here. Unfortunately, Ifa has run away because he knows the shame, the disgrace that the MPP has put them into. He cannot come and defend them. So he's not coming on the show. I dare Ifa, wherever he is this afternoon, if he's listening to me, you should join the show, because he has a lot of questions to answer. Thank you.
I think Ifa will be joining us as well. Great. So thanks for joining. Eventually, we would like to see your face. So if you don't mind, at some point, showing your face with your beautiful family.
I'll show my face. I'm not at home. I'm driving. So if I get home, I'll show my face.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Nanayo, it's been a long time. Why you been avoiding us? Circumstances of life.
Yeah, life takes you places, so sometimes it's what it is, but we are here.
Okay, gentlemen. So basically,
Alfred, it is not that life takes people to places. It's that his MPP government has disgraced him to a level whereby he doesn't even want to show his face to defend them. So that is the fact, and I know that's the fact, because we talk behind the scene, and he tells me that this MPP government.
But whatever he does behind the scene is supposed to be secret. So why would you say
he's disappointed in them? He's disappointed in them, and he doesn't know why he belongs to that party.
No. Paul. If he does something behind the scene, he should remain behind the scene. All right.
Don't mind Paul. We just started campaigning. He's feeling the heat, so I can see why he's doing that.
Is that what it is? Kakape will be joining us very soon. He indicated through text message to me. So guys, this week started slow, but things picked up very quickly. And my first observation really is that the NDC had sent out a communication out there. Okay, that this FI is in now. Welcome to the show, Professor F. Mayao. Mr. Mayao, we would like to see your beautiful face as well at some point. So if you're on the road, wherever you are, as quickly as feasible as you can, if you can.
Yeah, I'm home. I'm trying to. I don't want you to see the 6 pack, so let me
just put makeup on it.
Let me get something. I'll come on soon.
Alfred, Hot is waiting for. He's waiting for the fake information from the Jubilee House. That's what he's waiting for. That's what he's waiting for.
Have you had yours from Cuckoo Hill?
There's nothing like Cuckoo Hill. There's nothing like Cuckoo Hill.
All right, guys. Welcome to the show.
The NDC headquarters is, so you don't know, huh?
Well, apparently he has no apart from that today. But anyway, guys, welcome to the show. So, like I was saying, the week started for me slow. I was deliberating. What do we talk about this weekend? All of a sudden, the roof came falling through. So, first thing I kind of noticed was that the NDC had circulated some, I don't know if you call it memorandum or just guidance out there that, they are encouraging members not to campaign, except, for radio appearances, but to kind of desist from campaigning and pay particular attention to the registration exercise going on. And so this guidance came at the same time that Baumia is on the road speaking to voters. He was in Bono region and made some comments, and some things came out of those comments that we'll be talking about today. So, there's an unfettered access out there by the NPP at the moment. They are the only ones campaigning. Of course, they are the ones in government. They're the only ones who have the money to be doing it. Hopefully, it's not a money-related issue, but that is first observation. It's an issue we couldn't bring to the list of things we want to talk about today, but it's worth kind of recognizing as a context in which all these things are happening. Second thing, which I've tabled for discussion, is Yawa Jaben, Kwesi Jaben, who has been the special prosecutor since 2021, has come under some fire for comments he made in November 29th of 2023 about a trend he observed with our judiciary, where everything he takes to the courts in an attempt to fight corruption has been things that the court has been pushing back. And so there's a lengthy petition that was written by his predecessor, Amadou, to the president. If you look at the act itself, the acts that established the Office of Special Prosecutor, the president almost kind of, it established the president almost kind of like a conveyor belt. He gets these petitions, or he gets petitions from anybody. So you and I can literally present a petition, and the president is obliged to forward the petition. The president doesn't do the prima facie finding. He forwards it to the Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice will do the prima facie finding. My concern, which I don't want to prejudice your thinking, I want you to kind of exercise your independent thoughts on these things, but my concern preliminary is this, that this is a case of first impression. We've never had a lot of these cases in the system. And I'm saying that because if you look at this particular case, the judiciary itself is involved in the case. This is the case against a complaint about the judiciary and their performance with regards to corruption and corruption-related cases that get brought before them. But then a petition is tabled before the same judiciary to make a prima facie finding. I find it kind of odd that would the judiciary be able to exercise the independence necessary to rule against themselves? So, it's kind of a pickle, right, that we may have to perhaps figure out. So I'll present that to you, and you make your comments on that. And then, of course, there are three other things, but this is one of the ones that I really cared so much about. There is the comments from the vice president about nursing trainees when he was asked the questions on the trail. I want us to talk about that as well. And then we will go into whether or not Canada, which is very favorable to the West African countries with regards to their immigration policy. They are actually issuing a lot of visas, and you would take that as sort of a backdoor slavery type of thing, where they're bringing people to come and work in their country, populate the country, because they are a country that is aging, and we in Africa has a whole lot of youth energized, ready to work, but there's no work for them. So, there's this balancing that needs to happen. And therefore, the president's assistant apparently approached the Canadian embassy this is an allegation. I mean, there's no verification of this information. It's very new. We'll figure out whether it's true or not. So, guys, these are the things I want us to talk about. Any preliminary comments before we begin? Let's start from Yao.
It's nice to see you.
Yes, sir.
Greetings to everybody, Paul and my boss, Ifa. And I think you see, there's one thing about me that I always say in politics. I know it's competitive, right? So people are struggling for power. So in the act of doing that, some things happen. That's fine. But I always want to sit back and say, if I'm not even involved in these two political parties and I'm watching from an outsider perspective, how do I see Ghana? Where have I known Ghana and how have I known it now?
Right.
I always want to track progress beyond just the politicking that is our political parties should do, right? That way you kind of get a good sense of whether we've moved the needle or we haven't moved the needle, and then kind of, recalibrate in that sense. And I think that I understand why democracy is really expensive to some extent in context of not money, right? In context of the fact that sometimes you have to be patient with yourself for some things to play out. Because it is through these practices, these experiences, that informs, or what do you call it, change, progressive change, that informs constitutional reform, that informs what do you call it, meaningful, amendment. And so sometimes when some of the things happen, I would have wished, okay, maybe it didn't happen. But I always say, okay, maybe it also happened that we might also know that as we are on this journey of democracy, if we want to avert such things and we don't feel comfortable with it, maybe this is giving us some lesson or data points for us to start thinking through how we have to craft some of our laws such that we don't just leave things open for people and think that people, by some benevolence, will act always in way that are in tandem with the way everybody thinks. And that for me is a learning curve, is something that we all need to, and especially as lawyers, need to think through. If you're a lawyer, that, okay, this is the intention of the law, but has it played out in practice the way we wanted it? If no, what can we do? How can we tighten this knot? So some of the negative things, I don't necessarily play too emotional about them. It only affords me, especially for some of us in our generation, to think about how we can be better off than this generation that is passing, and how we can fix this thing. So yes, there will be lapses, and that's why my expectations sometimes I'm not too much disappointed about so many things. There will be lapses, there will be bending curves here, there will be disagreements here, there will be all these things that will happen in this journey. And as they happen, the problem is for us not to just lament, but to seize the moment and try and correct these things and fix them as we go, so that tomorrow we will not come back discussing, this same very issue. Would have made progress. And I think for the 30 years democracy, we've seen a lot of different things with this constitution. We've seen a lot of loopholes. We've seen a lot of, areas that, just gave too much powers. That we probably should have not done that. But like I always say, we have a history. Every country has a history from where we are coming from. At the time, maybe we needed these powers to a president that wanted to hand over and bring us to a democracy. But now that we are in a democracy, do we really need all these powers to this one person? Is something I think that we've all come to agree that no, the executive cannot continue to have overbearing power all over the place. So it brings back the question of our history, our constitution, where we've came from, and how things were structured. Because of the fact that we wanted to make sure that we transition to something called a democracy, and we've transitioned into it 30 years, and I think we've seen enough of this constitution in many aspects. So I'm hopeful that we will think reforms as we speak, or have these conversations and think through what we've seen. Thank you.
All right. So that is really nicely put. I guess we can go to Paul Isoso now. Paul, do you have any preliminary comment, any observations? I just thought slow week, of course, mistakenly on my part, but actually it's a busy week. So are there things that I'm missing that perhaps you want to kind of include in your preliminary comments before we move on?
Well, I think, for me, the law as it is law that has been, made by the lawmakers to be, protected and be, to be respected by all. But to me, I totally disagree with Nanaya if he says that there are lapses. The lapses over there that he's talking about are humanly created.
Okay.
Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the president who claims he's a human rights lawyer.
So let's not go into the substantive issues that we will be talking about yet, right? We just want to overall.
Exactly that. I'm not going to the substantive issue. Nanado, who claims to be a human rights activist and a lawyer and a president, has created a room to, let the laws that he has once defended not work. So for me, it is not human lapses. It's as the doing of the president, who has decided to use the law to favor his cause. If it favors him, yes. But if it doesn't favor him, okay, the law should work. So that's how it is. So for me, I totally disagree with Nanaya. That would be my primary concern or comment. And I think as we go into the substantive
issue, disagree with though. But anyway,
I think as we go to the substantive issue, I will make my case forcefully to, let you know why I think Nanado is destroying Ghana. He's the cause of our laws and democracy not, being under threat as we speak.
Okay. All right, we'll wait for that moment and be glad to hear from you. So, Efa, I mean, you and I have been chatting in the background. You're excited to be here today. You wanted to kind of bring some clarity to some of the issues that we'll be talking about today. But before we get into all that, what, if anything, that you think, sort of pick your interest that we may not have captured on today's agenda, or any other preliminary comments that you'd like to share before we actually get into the substantive discussion?
Yeah. Thank you very much, and thanks for the opportunity. And
Yep.
as much as possible, we should make this. Once you are coming again, we should make this program very exciting.
Yeah.
Now, if we pick our country as a nation, right? It is like a whole battle of whatever you want to put in. If you take it as a fruit, the whole fruit is rotten. If you take it as a soup, the whole soup is rotten. The citizens have a role to play, agencies and leadership. But the most important aspect of all that we go through has to do with leadership. Our laws are too weak. They make institutions very weak. Our laws are not able to be implemented. Even when they implement them, they are being very selective and all that kind of thing. So if you really, really want to build a society that really takes care of the citizens, that grow us as a nation, there are so many things we are not doing. There are so many things, and leadership after leadership has failed us in all aspects of it. If you look at it, right, if you look at the Fourth Republic, any time during elections, leaders have all the solutions. Any time in any of the elections, go and check it, whether it's coming from the two political parties, whether it's coming from any independent person, whether it's coming from any MP, they have all the solutions and they're going to vote for them. Once you vote for them, they're going to bring the solutions. Now you vote for them, they have a certain small percentage of what they will be able to do, and the rest is all talk. They send us here, we come here and we talk and talk, and at the end of the day, this problem still persists. So if we can, for once, deal with the issues and say that, devoid of mentioning names, but, this is our problem and this is what we need to fix. For me, everything points to leadership. If you point to any country and you can point to anything, you will see that there is a consistent pattern of leadership, regardless of who is occupying the political power. And we need to do that. We need the infrastructure. We need to build on our education systems. We need to build on the health and stuff like that. We need employment. We need the manufacturing, the value additions. This has nothing to do with whether this is a political party or B political party. That is what they come to do anyway. So if we can focus on on the teams that really help us and that really grow us I'm a businessman in Ghana, right? And if I don't have things moving on properly to help me, I can't come here and always talking politics. Even though it's a political platform, we also have a duty at the end of the day, because we have family members who are really suffering and who needs to be taken out of these doldrums. And when you color the problem and this thing too much, then the substance is taken out of the soup and we can't really have a fruitful discussion. I hope today we're really gonna take our political lenses out and really delve inside the problems and fix them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With my political lenses out, let's start from the nursing training allowance issue, or what I call the nursing training allowance politics. Okay. So we know that nurses are very important for our country. Imagine brilliant kid graduating from one of the free SHS programs with very good grades, decided to go into nursing, which I think is a calling, to be honest, because these are the people who take care of the sick Ghana, right? When Ghana is sick, it falls in the hands of the nurses. So they are very vital group of people in our country that we have decided as a country at some point that what we would do is that for their training, while they are training, that we're going to pay them allowances so that they can at least care for themselves while they are in school. And even when they graduate and join, that will continue to remunerate them properly. Okay, my camera is not behaving. Maybe the nurses don't like what I'm saying. Okay, so with that as a backdrop, right now, when Mahama came into power, of course, we had financial difficulties. Remember the Doomsday days. Mostly the accusation was it was financial related, so he needed to save every penny he can get. So he, strategically decided to make training colleges tertiary institutions, which was agreed by almost every reasonable Ghanaian that yes, that's the right thing to do. Let's make the trainees a tertiary institutions, including even the teacher training colleges, tertiary institutions. And then he proceeded to say that, well, if you're a tertiary institution, just like a university, the fair thing to do will be that you take a loan, a student loan, to pay for your education. So essentially removing that incentive that we had put in place to kind of educate nurses that, if you're going to go into such laborers and such compassionate sort of profession, that you were incentivized to do so. But also, one of the explanations I kind of picked from him was that we had so many nurses that the incentive was no longer important. Our nurses, some of them are home now working. We are graduating so many more. So it's not like somebody needed to be incentivized to become a nurse these days. It's actually something people really wanted to do to kind of advance their own personal goals, etc. So loan will be the way to go. Baumia and Nana Addo says no, that is not the way. They came and reinstituted the training allowances. Now, has it been effective, efficient? Is it and we see this type of things as country, it seems like we need to make we need to take a clear position on how we are going to treat this type of things, so that it's not like whoever wins, but people are playing, the political parties are currently seem to be playing politics with this type of allowances. Let me go to Paul first, because I know Paul is going to be very heated on this one. Paul, from where you sit, is it important for us to continue to incentivize nurses for their education? Paul, did we lose you? Nana, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay, so Paul, would you want to take that first?
So, what is the question?
The question is, do you think it's still important for us to
someone is using double?
Yeah, I'm gonna remove you from one and bring you on the other.
Yeah, something when it's echo, it's a double distance.
Yeah, can you hear us now, Paul?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. We can hear you. So, Paul,
Okay. So,
your camera, though, I don't know that maybe your blaring is a little too much. So if you can work on that. But
can
Paul,
if I start talking, let me work on the background, please.
Sure. Let me go to a fact. So my concern really is that we seem to be playing a political ping pong with nurses incentivization in order to get that education. It was necessary before because we started in a new country. We didn't have a lot of nurses. Population needed to be served. So we needed to incentivize nurses to actually take on that profession. It's a calling, I call it.
Right.
Do you think in 2024, it is still important, relevant for us to continue to incentivize a tertiary level education for nurses? Through allowances?
Excuse me?
Is it still relevant for us to continue, doing this?
So the question of, so I think that the question of relevance or not would depend on government. And when I say government, I don't mean a political party. Okay, so when a political party is mounting the political platform, or when you are in government, and if before both parties have had the benefit of coming into government, and I think the echo is coming back again. Yeah, hello. Yeah, can you hear me? Very good. So both political parties have come into government and know what the national cake is, what our budget is, what we spend money on, the things we need to cut and the things we do not we do not need. I think that if you look at the fact that we have a backlog of nurses and teachers, that we can slow down on certain things. Also, as a nation, you cannot technically say that because you have so much of this, you are not going to continue to produce, a particular profession or things like that. To incentivize them or not to incentivize them should be a government decision, and I don't have a problem. For me, sitting here, if you look at the amount of money that is paid to nurses and teachers, teacher training, nursing training, and all these, for me, I quantify them as the little pieces, okay, the little pieces of money that we're giving to these nurses. How much is this money, and how much of it is quantum, and how much does it affect in the national budget? I don't think it is any big money that when we promise to do that we cannot do. Okay, so when we want to sit down and decide that we need to take this or that, it doesn't have to be a political tool, an election, this thing or whatever it is. Okay, it just has to be that we sit down as a government and we say that, okay, if for some reason we want to make this, we want to give them a loan, we do the loan thing. If we want to take this off, we take it off. But when we decide to say we're going to pay, we just have to pay. You just have to give it to them as something that we've said. Because like I'm saying, we've had the benefit of coming into the government and we know what the budget is and stuff like that. Now, we also have to think through the whole spectrum of our expenditure and say that what are the things that we need to kick out. For me, if we need to kick out things out of the budget, if we need to, there are so many wasteful things that we should be paying attention to. Anytime that we have discussion and all these legitimate things, people say, "Oh no, we don't need." I simply don't think so. I have a completely different idea about how we spend money in the country. We know what our budget is. We know what the Auditor General's report has been. We have known about ghost names, and we've known about a whole lot of things, a whole lot of wastage in the system.
No, I think Baumia said he eradicated ghost names, right?
If it is, I mean, something was done about it. I mean, if it is eradicated, that is fine.
What
But
that
for
even points to me, I know it's digressing, but what that points to me is that is Baumia not reading the auditor report, because he can make that claim that he eradicated ghost names when the auditor report is putting out ghost names all the time.
Yeah, so those are things where I don't even want to. I don't want to be making a discussion. But what I'm saying is that there are a whole lot of things that are taking a chunk of our budget. It is not the legitimate things we want to pay to these institutions and this case to incentivize them to either learn and stuff like that. That becomes a burden on the this thing. So I don't think that the question of we need it or we don't need it doesn't even come in, because for me it is small, right?
But I think in the wisdom of the previous administration, right, they found it to be burdensome somehow, to where based on their calculation, they thought, teachers and nurses should take loans just like everybody else. You create a little space in the budgets for government to take care of all the things. There's LEAP program. There's all kinds of programs needing payments, for constant payment, because we are not saying they wouldn't get the assistance they need, but just through loans, just like everybody else does in the tertiary context.
But they did not conclude.
All right, we may have lost our father.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Afar. Okay, so while Afal is working on his radio, I think I will bring him in once he gets it. Here he comes.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had a call. So let me wrap it up. You see, I hate to say it, but that is true. You see, our politicians and our leaders are not being honest to us. If you take the previous government, for instance, right? They sat down and they said this was not necessary. But now, for politics and because of whatever they say, oh, when I come, I'm also going to continue. See, there's not that consistency and there's not that honesty from them. You get the point? And that is the problem I have with our leadership. For me, when you say you're going to pay, you're going to pay. So I fault my government for coming, making it a campaign promise and haven't come all the way, and we are not paying. And the focus is even on nurses right now, right? But what of the teachers?
Yeah. That's
Okay,
that's also
the teachers has not even coming in, and it's going to bump up soon. So
right.
if we don't need it, if it is a challenge for us to do, let's take it off the table. That's leadership.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when we play political, so for me, we use it as a campaign. We've been using it as a campaign. It is our duty to pay. And anybody that sits on radio and tell us the nation is broke and all that, me, I will never sit on radio and say the nation is broke. It is the way we spend money. It is where we put certain monies and stuff like that. That is the challenge we have as a country. And our inability to plug the loopholes. And our inability to also tax the things that are really taxable to give us the money. We go this approach of the traditional existing and keep on, piling taxes on things that are, it is becoming a burden for the few that are paying the taxes. And I think we need to really restructure all these things and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. Let me bring in Paul is also on this one. Paul.
Well,
before you come in, let me ask the question. Baumia actually boasted about this, right? He made a claim that, and I'm gonna play the video. I wish I had played that video before I got a fine, but let me actually play that video so we can reorient the discussion on that. Where is it? Here we go.
So we have to follow people who have vision. We don't have to follow people who think in terms of impossibilities.
Strange.
We think in terms of possibilities.
Okay.
Maybe you need to restart it or something. It's not playing.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't hear anything. I don't know if I'm the only one.
There's another way to play it. So let me just go. Okay, it's another way to play. Let me go through that.
Alfred, we know about this video. I've listened to it several times. So
yeah, I want to make sure that my audience also get the
because of your audience, so can play.
All right. I guess video is not cooperating. So let's go back to our program. So Paul, you heard.
Yeah, Alfred. So you see, when you lie and you keep on lying, the lies will come and eat you up, and that's what is happening to dishonest Baumia.
Right.
Why am I saying so? When he was in opposition, he was one of the people who made the loudest noise that they are going to restore nurses' allowance. They're going to restore teachers' allowance. And they use it as a political campaign towards the 2016 elections. When they won power in 2016, December 7th, and they were installed and they came to power 2017, 6 months into their governance, the first 100 days, he went to stood on a political platform and said that these are the things that they've delivered. Teachers' allowance, delivered. Nurses' allowance, delivered. He said all sorts of lies. And we said to Ghanaians that this man is lying to them. He's throwing construction stones into their eyes. Now, for me, Dr. Baumia is being very dishonest, very disrespectful to we Ghanaians and the nursing students. Why am I saying so? As the head of the economic management team, if you stood on such a platform and a student posts to you that you've said a whole lot of things. I've been in this institution for 3 years now. I'm about to finish. I have not received even one of my allowances. Instead of you to say that I'm sorry, we promise, unfortunately, there are difficulties, that's why I've not received it. He's trying to be smart. That's what angered me. Trying to say that, if it doesn't, he's going to reach out to the Minister of Finance and find out why they've not received their allowances. You see, Baumia should stop taking us as fools. He should stop taking us as people who have no brains in our head. You understand me? We all know, and he knows the fact that they've not paid teachers allowance. But he stood and tried to pretend as if he doesn't know what is happening. And this should tell me that he's super incompetent. He doesn't even know what is going on, because if as the head of the economic management team, and you don't know, as we speak, you don't know how the taxes that you've taken from Ghanaians, how you disperse those taxes, then there's a lot of question mark to you. He didn't know that what he was doing, he was rather worsening his situation on our platform. Because how can you tell me, Alfred, as the head of the economic management team, the person that Nanado told the whole world that God has given the whole world, the Messiah has given the wisdom in the world, and you don't know that such allowance, which is a political campaign which you use against the NDC, you've not paid the people? How can you tell me you don't know? And that you are not going to check with the finance minister? You see, Baumia keep on lying. And the student who went and asked that question, I hear.
Wouldn't you think? Don't you think lying is such a strong word? I mean,
It's not a strong word, Alfred. It is time for us to say the way it is, and that is me.
He may not have been properly briefed,
Alfred,
but
it is not about briefing. He lied to the nurses and lied to the good people of Ghana. Not that only lie. In 2020, before the election, Baumia went to sit in the studio of Asempa, and he was asked that, and from the northern region, what one thing can he boast his chest that they've done for the Northers? He said, oh, the biggest project ever in the northern region, the Pralugu Dam. They've constructed it, then they've done it. As we speak, not even a son is on the site. And in the same video I was talking about, he admitted that, I mean, they promised to build the Pralugu Dam and that they've not done it. So for such a person, you don't expect me to come and sit here and be saying that, I mean, he was misinformed. He lied. He's dishonest. He has no integrity. Not only the Pralugu Dam issue. Let's talk about the teachers, about the they call them, ghost names, and which you yourself you cited. He made a lot of noise that they've removed ghost name from the payroll. And you see, my good friend Ifa is a very smart politician. And when you put that question to him, he ran away from it. And I respect him for that. He's a smart politician. You see, if you want to talk about the lies Baumia has told us and what it is today, I can list over 10, 15 lies he has told the good people of Ghana, and that's not the situation today. What did we hear, Alfred? When he was in opposition, he said, when the fundamentals of the economic is weak, the dollar will expose you. When he came to government in 2019, when he set up the 150 member committee to find out why the dollar was depreciating, when he was asked, is that the case? He said, no. Yes, the same logic apply, but in their terms, it doesn't apply.
Yeah, but I would like for you to limit the discussion.
I'm limiting it today. I'm trying to tell you that Baumia is a liar.
But that's not the question I asked, though. I didn't ask whether he's a liar or not.
Integrity, and that this allowance issue that he played politics with, it has hit his face. He's lying about it. Instead of him apologizing and be honest to the student and tell them that, I'm sorry, I promised I was going to do this, but unfortunately, difficulties, as a result of difficulties and the economic situation, we are unable to pay you, and that we'll find a way, means to pay you. He was trying to play on our intelligence, and such a person, you don't let him go scot-free. You understand me, Alfred? Now, I am talking about the cedi and the dollar. He also lied to the Ghanaians that, they are going to make sure that they stabilize the economy. They are going to move it from taxation to production as we speak today. But brother Ifa will never talk about the dollar because he knows $1 is going for 15 Ghana cedi as we speak today. As I speak to you today, and I've tried to send some money today, and it is almost $15, 15 Ghana cedi to $1. When the dollar was going for 1 cedi to 4.2 Ghana cedi at the time we were leaving power, Baumia called us incompetent. He said all sorts of lies that the NDC administration are not managing the economy well, and that they have the brainy people. They are the people who have the head. They have the mind to manage the economy. So what has happened? So you see, Alfred, politics is a game that is based on evidence. Now, I don't know upon what basis is Baumia thinking that Ghanaians should believe and trust that he's able to do something new. And I've stated this and I continue to say it. 2 days ago, I was on Asempa. I put a question to the rep, NPP rep on the show that they should tell Baumia if he has anything to do, okay, to save the economy, to pay the teachers' allowance, the nurses' allowance, to build the Palugu dam. He should do it now. He should not wait to become a president.
Right.
Baumia has continued to lie, play on our intelligence, and he continued to play on our intelligence.
Paul, apparently, 3 days ago, there was the news that Baumia had indicated that 117 million has been released by the Minister of Finance to the Department of Health.
After this Jack-Nick reaction, this is a Jack-Nick reaction. Okay,
well,
because he was exposed. Because he was exposed, he lied, he was exposed, and he was trying to play on our intelligence. He has no choice for them to release that money. And I'm happy. If that is true, if that's the case, I am happy. We are waiting to hear if the teachers will get the NAPCO. Have you got them NAPCO workers? They will lie to them.
But it kind of re-emphasized the commitment of the administration to ensure that
no commitment anywhere. There is no commitment anywhere. This is propaganda, mischief, and the lies that Abomia tried to throw into the eyes of the good people of Ghana. I am stating over here.
Even if this is propaganda, right? Don't you see the genuity?
There is no genuity over there.
Of this, because
there is no genuity over there. It is lies. He keeps on lying to Ghanaians.
Let me land so you can answer the question, right? Check it out this way, or think about it this way. If I was Baumia and I wanted to ensure we raise this issue that differentiates us from the NDC, right? I would intentionally go and say, hey, we've been paying allowance, and I know for sure that question is coming. And when that question hits, I'll tell them, yeah, don't worry, I'll pay it. And then in 3 days, I paid it. What would the reaction of the average person be?
That's exactly what I said earlier. Maybe you were not listening to me. I was saying that instead of him being honest and so, yes, I promise I'm going to do it, but unfortunately, due to economic difficulties, we've not done it. But please give me some few days, we'll pay you back. He rather pretend as if he doesn't even know that there is such an outstanding bill for them to pay.
No,
that is honesty.
He said he's going to go talk to the Minister of Finance and get it paid.
Exactly.
And according to him, he's done it. So,
Alfred, listen to me. I just want as the head of the economic management team, if he stood on that platform and pretended as if he doesn't know what is happening, he's being dishonest. Alfred, let Efa and let my brother Nanaya, let's put politics aside and let's be honest. Because he cannot pretend as if he doesn't know what is going on. NAPCO workers, as we speak, they are owing them over 1.5 to 2 years. They use it as a propaganda tool, as campaign tool, just to throw dust into the eyes of the good people of Ghana. You don't do that. You don't lie to rule, or you don't lie when you are in government, or you don't lie your way into government. They lie their way into government. They are still in government. They keep on lying to the good people of Ghana. That is what is not right. That's what we need to speak about. That's what we need to speak against. And for me, Baumia is a joker. And of course, he stated on 2 days ago that he is a joker. He was joking about saying that the churches were going to pay taxes. He stated his stand. So for me, I'll take him as such. I'm not going to regard anything or take anything seriously when Baumia says on this political campaign, because he has shown that he is not somebody that is to be trusted. He has no integrity and he has no credibility.
Okay, let me bring in Nanaya on this one. Thank you so much, Paul. That's spirited. We love it. There's fight in you today. We want to tap all that fight. Nanaya.
Yeah.
Is either the MPP is very smart or the MPP is very not smart in if this was a political strategy, right? Because I could see why perhaps I might pick on the loan right before we pay, knowing very well that money is there to be paid. But why don't I get some political capital out of it, right? Let me be seen as doing something and use that. If they did that, that is politically smart. But it can also be, dangerous, especially with the interpretation we are getting from Paul. What do you think? Do you think this is just a very smart political strategy unfolding right before our eyes, because I don't think these guys are playing games with what is being said on a political platform, thinking that there is some seriousness in deciding, what is being said, and of course, knowing very well the type of questions that will come.
I'm with you. If I were the NDC, why is the NDC now crying bitter about allowance not being paid? Is that not what they've always wished for? That they are not going to pay this allowance.
That would be an incomplete statement, right? The NDC
Thank you for correcting him. Thank you for correcting him.
They didn't wish for allowances not to be paid. They wanted some type of payment to support nurses or teacher trainees,
but not in the form of allowance.
Alfred, the NDC, let's be honest over here. What the NDC said was that the allowance we pay to these teachers and nurses training, it is preventing us to give opportunity to a lot of people to get admissions because you have to pay them. So what we proposed was that instead of us paying them allowance, we said, look, when all of us completed university in Ghana, when we're in the university, we got student loan. So we're going to subsidize the allowance to student loan. Let me make this statement.
The question should be, Paul, I'm not cutting short.
Yes.
Because it's Nayaya. The question should be, why are you using it as a campaign tool right now that you reinstate?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's got to be some strategy behind that, and maybe we shouldn't.
What strategy behind that?
No, so
what I'm
trying to establish is that Nanaya should not be mischievous here saying that.
No, but you giving. Why are you bringing the same thing to cancel? Why are you not insisting on the one you said
we we're going to replace the allowance with student loan. But they said they don't want it. If you don't want it and you want the allowance, okay,
you go by the allowance. When you cancel it, did they want you to cancel it when you cancel it in the first place?
Let's give Nanaya back his time so he can go ahead.
Now for politics, you are bringing it back, and now you want to justify that.
All right.
I will not pretend. I will not pretend to tell the NDC how they should campaign. I'm not. It's not my right to show them how they should campaign. But what I'm saying is that's why I tell you that every election contest matters, right? The contest here is about you guys mocking Bawumia, saying that he lied about an issue. And if we take that same issue and we place it on your candidate who is competing against Bawumia in this election, will you win? Even in this current state that you are saying Bawumia lied, will you win that argument? If they win it, they should go ahead and keep to what they are doing. But in all fairness, it's possible some of these allowances have been delayed, right? But something being delayed, does that mean that since MPP came, they've not been paying this allowance? Is that what we are trying to say here? Or we are just trying to say that they've been paying it, but it's been delayed, so it's a hell for the MPP. The party that said, I'll restore it and has been paying it, only delays it. And now that delay, the opposition is saying, oh, no, that delay, we cannot even accept it. Then the question is, what was your position on that same issue? So if they want to fight that battleground with the MPP, they should go ahead. Eventually, the people will have a choice to decide who canceled it, who restored it and delayed it. It's two choices. They'll choose one.
Let me add to what you just said. There is also some signal from the NDC, because the NDC, although wanted to pay loans, is now saying, oh, by the way, we will pay the allowance.
Exactly.
So,
Mr. Muzo, the NDC is not mischievous like the MPP. The NDC is not mischievous like the MPP. We listen, and this is what the people wanted. And we said, okay, if this is what you wanted, if you want us to go by that code, we will do it. So we don't play plumb. We are being honest. It is only a fool who doesn't change his mind. We took this decision in the interest to get more people employed in the nursing and the teacher training. But at the end of it, if they say they don't want it, we have to do something.
Are you lying your way to election?
We are not lying our way to election. We are not.
Paul, hear me out.
Because nobody told you to cancel it. You cancel it.
Let me ask Paul this question, right? So does it mean the MPP is a better reader of the people than you are?
Yes.
Because the MPP can never be a better.
Way back in 2016, that's what the people wanted.
Alfred, the MPP can never be better. The MPP can never be better. Listen to me, Alfred.
8 years to actually get the message.
No, it didn't take 8 years, Alfred. Let's stop being mischievous here. Let's speak true to the fact. Prior to 2020 election, The NDC put it on or in our manifesto that we are going to
restore
the allowance. We didn't run away about it.
Right.
So don't create a pressure as if it's something that is new. Okay? The NDC, prior to the 2020 election, we did listeners tour. We went around the whole country. We listened to people. Based upon that, the 2020 manifesto of the NDC is the best manifesto ever that all Ghanaians spoke about. Everybody has spoken about. And I know Ifa and Anaya, they like that manifesto very much. And as such, we are not going to be ostriches over here and say something to please our interest. We spoke to the people on the ground. They said this is what they are looking for. And we looked at it, we re-evaluated it, and we said, let's restore it back. There is nothing wrong with it. We are honest people. When we do something that is wrong, we admit it and we restore it. And this is what we did. And I expect Baumia and Nanaya and then Ifa also to speak the truth and admit that, yes, they lied, that they were going to restore and pay them.
Lie is a big word.
Yeah, but delay is not lying.
You know. Okay, so let's restore Nanayao.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that the FP has been in power for the last 7 years. So can Paul tell us how many months or how many years arrears have the MPP had in this allowance since they started? Or they never even started paying at all since they started from 2016. They've never paid this allowance.
Okay, Paul, take note of that question when you come back later. Don't interrupt.
The issue is that as far as I know, MPP has been paying this allowance. Somebody went to ask a legitimate question. How can Ibamia didn't want to? Ibamia was only interested in hearing questions that he wants to hear. I don't think he'll go campaign and finish and open the space and say, everybody come and ask me a question. That is even for me positive. The fact that he's prepared to take any questions from the audience, and then you come and tell me that these people who came to ask the question were kind of pre-arranged. It tells you that he's really interested in listening genuinely to the concerns of people, taking feedback from the bottom up. Maybe things that people might not have told him, he's now getting it real time from the people themselves that are impacted, for whom he's running for president, for whom he thinks that it is their burden or their solution or their problem that he's seeking to solve. So taking feedback real time from them, for me, is positive. And somebody comes to ask him the question about allowances. I was surprised the person said 3 years. I don't know if that was a slip of tongue or it's genuine that indeed somebody has not been paid nurses allowance for 3 years. I presume that if somebody had not been paying nurse allowance for 3 years, you would have heard some noise out there.
Yeah, the maximum though is 24 months for the third year students.
Wow.
24 months is what?
2 years.
But the person said 3 years. If I heard the video loud,
I mean, it's between 3 to 4 years. There are some people who have not received their own for over 4 years now. Others 3 years. Others 2 years.
The maximum I've seen is 24 months. Nothing beyond 24 months. The third years are in about 24 months of arrears. Second years have 18 months, and the first years have about 12 months of arrears. That's what I'm aware of. For which the president,
where is your data coming from? Data source coming from? The people on the field who are experiencing, who have been affected, are saying that for the past 3 years, 4 years, do not pay them. You are sitting here that your data tells you 24.
No, but we need official documentation.
Yeah, we need official documentation. I agree.
My question is that if people have not been paid, you know this nurse allowance. Even if the allowance is in for 6 months, you hear the noise they usually make. So I'm surprised. I have never heard that. Oh, the only one I've heard is this NAPCO trainees. That people say they've not been paid, right? But I never heard anywhere proud to Baumia or that person come to ask Baumia that question. Proud that somebody said, oh, the nurse allowance to have not been paid for 2-3 years.
Let me share my screen and show what these guys are worried about. I think the question is where that news is coming from, right? So there is a Google. I use what do you call it? I use AI to kind of summarize that information. So you can see on your screen here. So that's a summary of all the news, but I'm using so you can see an AI overview. And it says in May 2024, Vice President Dr. Baumia announced that the Ministry of Health would receive 175.7 million to pay nursing trainee allowances. The government owes first-year trainees 5 months, second-year trainees 24 months, and third-year trainees about 18 months. So the maximum out there is 24 months.
Average. So your source Your source, Alfred. I mean, you are
So
Alfred, you are
basically,
my good brother.
the AI overview is it takes all the news out
Alfred,
there and
Alfred,
summarizes it.
you can't base your source on this thing you are reading to me.
Show us some better ones if you have them. Otherwise,
But you said you were going to use AI.
The person who is filling it is saying that 3 years now, she's about to finish school. She's not received her allowance since she
and
started. And you are here telling 24 months.
That person could be an MPDC spokesperson. So
I disagree.
I disagree. Progress. I think it doesn't even matter what the frequency here. What it matters is that these people are saying they owe money, right? And that is the point. Regardless, whatever time we put in there, they are still owed money or allowances, right? Like I said, I never knew these nurses owed. What I knew was the NAPCO people. And for this to come up and for a presidential candidate who bowed to this campaign, promised this nursing student in the last campaign that, hey, we're going to restore this and we're paying. And the nurses knew that we've been paying this money. So it's not as if they are coming to Bamia and saying that, hey, now what do you call it? Restore allowance. They know these allowances. We promised that we're going to pay them. And they are just not receiving the timely payment of this allowance. And they are reminding the person who made that or who used that as a big campaign issue in the prior election that, hey, we are not being paid. If you are not aware, then we are telling you. And the president gets up and tells you that, well, I'm not aware. I'm going to ask the Ministry of Finance. And you said the president lied.
Okay, let me ask you this final question so I want to hear from you, your perspective, not necessarily what Vice President did or not. Should we continue with this political ping pong with this? And if you say, well, if your answer is no to that, I want a further question, which is, what would you prefer, an allowance or a loan?
I've heard the rationale of the NDC. But you see, given our environment and given what I know, right? I would prefer to waste money on students. Give money on students for the students to be motivated to go and sit in the classroom and learn and build talent. Even if that talent, when they finish, they don't even have jobs. In our current situation, even if they don't have jobs and they have the talent, I'll prefer that than the kind of wastage that I see with these politicians.
Isn't that counterintuitive? Because what the NDC is saying is that due to the space available, right, and the fact that we have to add loans to each student, we are not able to take more students because we have to give allowance to each of them. Because of that, we are unable to take all the qualified students. So if your position is that for every student who is qualified, you want them to actually learn, and even if they go and sit home without work, that is better than them not learning at all. You would rather be voting towards what the NDC is saying, correct?
I'm with you. This is a typical example. When I was in Legon, right? School of Admin.
Yeah.
School of Admin, right? There are many people who wanted to go into School of Admin. And at some point, what they started doing is that they will charge you the fees. If you really want to come, they do charge those fees, paying people first, especially the foreigners. Once they exhaust that, then they start trying to see if they can pick the other one because they know you are not going to pay the full fees. I probably think that is the model the NDC is saying they will give them loans to come in and do.
Right, but so we can get more as people.
I get that they are post rationalization about how they wanted to do this thing. But what I'm saying is that the skill set that we are talking about here, how did this allowance even start?
The allowance started because we needed to incentivize people to become nurses.
Exactly.
In a new country, we needed more nurses. I mean, of course.
And we still need more of these nurses because we are building agenda 111 hospitals. Hold on. We still need more of these nurses, regardless of how you see it. And think about it. The allowance that we pay, it's not just free money. It's a very big social safety network. I think that is what the NDC probably does not abet their mind to. It's not just paying money. Right? It's a big social safety network in our Ghanaian context.
But a loan will do the same thing.
Pardon?
A loan will do the same thing.
A loan is not a safety net. A loan is a loan. You pay back. A loan is a loan. You pay back.
You pay back, but immediately that you have the financial need, right? That you are giving a loan, the safety net that the allowance would cover, a loan will cover it. The future paying back is based on the fact that that actually get negotiated into the salaries anyway. If you are students who has to pay loan back, the value of that education becomes of greater importance. Most of these nurses end up in UK and Canada, as we'll talk about soon.
Yeah, at the time that they were saying a loan, that they were talking about loans, at the time we didn't even have this Ghana card that will ensure that you have to go take a loan without any guarantee.
When you have Ghana card when you took your loan?
Yeah, when you took the loan and it was on your head, you didn't take any guarantor system. This was the time that the NDC was talking loans. It's just like the SNID loan. You needed to go and bring 2, 3, what do you call it, SNID workers to come and guarantee your loan. If
you
all
did
these
that.
nurses, hold on, if all these nursing students, if all these nursing students, like the university students, are all going for the same small 600,000 workers in Ghana to be guaranteeing their loans for them at the time that NDC was telling us this solution, you think that would have worked out? They will have most people guaranteeing these loans for them. Fast forward to today, when you don't need those guarantors, you need a Ghana card. Maybe their solution can be
you are assuming that digitalization is a preserve of the MPP, that if the NDC were in government, that they wouldn't have implemented digitization to the point where they would need, the guarantors wouldn't be needed anymore. So I want you to argue without necessarily injecting that, which would have already happened anyway.
I still think that it's a big social safety network in our country, and because of, just like free senior high school, taking the cost of education, bringing the cost barrier down. You saw how many people came into the school system. That is what has happened to the nursing field. Because that cost barrier is brought down, most people necessarily...
You're comparing apples to oranges. It's another same thing.
Cost barriers are cost barriers.
This is not cost barrier, because it's not like you have to pay for the school. We are saying that the incentive to go to training college is no longer needed, because we really have a whole bunch of nurses now, right? And even if we are doing loans, right? If we are doing loans, you still, have that money in your hand anyway. So when you talk from the trainees perspective, there isn't a cost barrier like the SHS context. The SHS context is that you don't have money, you don't even come to SHS at all. And now the government is saying we are removing that. So you can't compare that necessarily to the discussion of nursing allowance.
Do you know what this allowance is?
Do
you know what this allowances do for some of these students? That's what some of these students rely on as their upkeep money.
Yeah. So they will do the same for loan, right?
For their upkeep money. And this upkeep money is what takes them through these colleges or these programs and be able to finish. And when they finish, what do? Like before, the NDC had a lot of backlogs. When we came, we cleared a lot of this backlog, and most of these people, were getting work to do. And today, we even have programs that ensure that we can export some of these nurses outside our country to be able to generate what? Foreign exchange.
So there's time to stop the lies. You should stop the lies.
Countries
we've exported nurses to places like, what do you call it?
It's not true.
South America. What is the name?
It's not true.
Well, they will be there. They've been doing those things long before.
Why I say it's not true?
Don't create the impression. No, don't create the impression here that you guys came to government and this thing happened.
So first of all,
it's been happening.
Training human resources. Hold on. We are training human resources.
Let me make this point. The thing he's saying, he's misrepresenting us, misleading us over here. Transporting nurses traveling out of Ghana to go and work at other places has been happening since Nkrumah time. So this is not the first time this is happening. So don't try to get that impression.
Paul, we got that. So basically what I'm trying to say to you is that we are training these nurses on the back of the Ghanaian with the mindset that they would heal the sick Ghana, right? But you are telling us that we are exporting them into another country that did not contribute to their training. So they can go and heal.
Okay. Anyway.
So they can go and heal that country's sick people. No. Isn't that twisted? So we are saying that let's give them loans when they go to those countries and make their income.
But let me. The host. 1 second. The host. These two political parties are not talking loans. No one is talking. NDC lied. Okay, that they were going to give them. They did not put the structures in place. And we have not said we'll cancel it. So loans is not an issue here.
Going forward, MPP, NDC, NDC has a confused kind of position right now.
To answer your question again, you had an issue that we have enough nurses now. People are willing to, and I told you that no, we still need more nurses.
Right? Why are we exporting them out?
Because we have other needs for them still. We still need these more nurses. And want to incentivize many people to come into that field with the allowance scheme. And I'm telling you that we are even to the point that we are able to exchange some of our nurses to other countries. You are only looking at it that, oh, we trained them with taxpayers' money and therefore we lost money on them. But you've not accounted for the fact that when they go out there and they work, they are bringing foreign exchange to your country. So how are you losing?
My brother. So here's the thing. Even if they had loan, they will still bring foreign exchange back to the country. So I'm saying that,
but for them not having loan, it's not their decision. It's a government policy. It's a government policy that says
everybody who got loan from the university who went overseas, like yourself, and exchange back home. So that argument doesn't justify.
That's what I'm saying. It is not for the student to answer to that question. That policy is a government policy. It's the MPP policy to say that they believe that this program provides a safety net, and for them, restoring and paying and it's peanut money. It doesn't account for most of what we have in our country. And if you are spending that on our students, from the government perspective, they think that spending money in that sense makes sense. And therefore, they are going to continue. Another government says, no. Me, I don't think that. I mean, I can spend money on you guys like that. I will reprioritize it. That's a policy position that the MPP has taken. So at this point, it is the MPP's position. If you've taken that position, then you should find the money, and however you find it, pay them, and don't delay the allowances, and because you've already given them this promise and assurance. So as far as we are concerned, we think that this is a social safety net. It's in the lights of the free senior high school. It's in the lights of providing equal opportunity to anybody. If you feel that, the nursing is not your fault, and the
even with all the explanations we gave you today, that this is not a social safety net, this is providing incentive. This is just political promise. This has nothing to do with all the things you mentioned, because again, loan would have done the same social safety net work thing you're talking about, because when you get a loan, you eat from the loan. And then when you graduate and we export you to another country, not only do you send foreign exchange back to Ghana, but you also pay your loan. So that poor Ghana, who takes taxes from my mother unnecessarily, can disease from taking those unnecessary taxes that they used to support these nurses, that then we get to export to wherever, Canada, so they bring
this same poor Ghana. When it has to do with giving allowances or monies to these vulnerable, they cry. But when it has to do with, financing a huge parliamentary, parliament, that huge parliament, they sit back and they don't complain. And when it only has to do with giving money to these poor people, poor Ghana realize that they don't have money.
Okay, so that's a different conversation for another day.
So poor Ghana has to think through.
Poor Ghana has a whole bunch of things to think about, but we are specifically worried about.
For me, spending money in any sense about education, and even if it's allowance of free money, and you think that is still not efficient, I think it's far better than most of the expenditure that I've seen in
I was hoping that you would make this argument without bringing in the money we spend on parliament.
It's the same, from the same bucket, from the same part.
No, we can concentrate on one thing, right, and justify its existence, because the fact that otherwise, Kwame Nkrumah at some point was giving unemployment benefits. Anyway,
I'm for providing these allowances to still incentivize people, because I think we still need more nurses. We still have capacity. We have room. We have, plan for how to use these nurses. And I don't think that, it's going to cost us anything, because also it will make us competitive as a country. And I believe that some people prefer to refer cases to Ghana, because we have a certain structure that we in Ghana, we don't really lack nurses too much. Even
and the law wouldn't do any of that.
So it's because of these policies over time that has incentivized many people to come into that area. And that is why today you think that there's an overflow. If you take it away right now, in the next 5-6 years, you begin to see the shortages and the problems that will emerge again from that sector.
That's not true.
Well, that's my postulation.
That's your focus. That's your focus. Yeah.
If you take it away, the issues that you think today are resolved.
But you have not provided any justification or anything to kind of back that up. That is a throwaway sort of forecast. But it's okay.
We can look at it from the free SHS.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, guys, let's go for a quick commercial break, because I know you guys need to drink some water.
Before you go for a quick commercial break,
Paul, go get some water to drink. When you come back, right? When you come back,
Paul,
hold the thoughts.
We have two MPP people, so at least you need to give me chance.
Come back with that statement when you finish drinking water. I want you to be hydrated, right? So that you are healthy when you come back and give us more information. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the show again. My name is Alfredo Muzu. If you've been watching, we've been vigorously debating the issue of whether or not necessary training allowance is still relevant and whether Ghana should continue to pay such allowances, especially in the context where my understanding is we are now exporting those nexus and they're making foreign income. Shouldn't they be paying a loan with interest instead? So this is an argument I'm sure you are having at your dinner tables as well. But apparently our politicians are listening. Let's continue to have this, conversations and continue to advise them so that they have informed policies that will address our problems going forward. The second thing I want us to talk about now, really, it's about Kisia Jaben. Kisia Jaben happens to be our current OSP. Kisia Jaben has been in that position since 2021 when Amidou resigned. Martin Amidou resigned, saying, on policy grounds, he couldn't do the job no more because the president's expectation of him are unrealistic from his own moral and ethical background. He didn't think he could do what the president was asking for. Therefore, he resigned. And he's pissed somehow. And that's what I gleaned from reading his petition, that his successor, first of all, hasn't acknowledged him on some of the trials or the cases that he was working on and that he took over. He says his successor is in violation of Article 127 of the Constitution. He cited that, and if you look at Article 127, it says, in the exercise of the judicial powers of Ghana, that the judiciary in both its judicial administrative functions, including financial administration, is subject only to this Constitution and shall not be subject to the control or direction of any person or authority. The second part of it is where he really has a beef with, which is that neither the president, nor parliament, nor any person acting under the authority of the president or parliament, nor any person whomsoever shall interfere with the judges or the judicial officers or other persons exercising judicial power in the exercise of their judicial functions, and all organs and agencies of the state shall accord to the courts such assistance as the courts may reasonably require to protect the independence, dignity, and effectiveness of the court subject to the Constitution. Amidou thinks that Kwesi Ajaben is in violation of that provision because he goes about making press statements that prejudices cases before the courts. So, for instance, there was a case with LaBianca. He published a whole article talking about that case when there was appeals going on. There were cases with, what do you call it? The former minister of, member of parliament, what is his name? Ayariga, in which, again, Kwesi Ajaben, had made public statements inimical to what a lawyer in his capacity serving as a person with the prosecutorial power should be doing. So Kwesi Ajaben has misbehaved himself. He's even made allegations that Kwesi Ajaben has been taking bribes. Essentially, he says that there are people who in the OSP's office who are known to be demanding considerations in order to select cases. So there are cases that docket is prepared, ready to go, but those cases are not going in because the special prosecutor's office is demanding to be paid. And when they are paid, such cases don't make it to the courts. These are very serious allegations. My concern, however, is that the judiciary is implicated in this. However, these cases are going to be appearing before the same judiciary. Matter of fact, when you look at the Special Prosecutors Act and you read Article 15 of that act, Section 15 of that Act 2 says, a person who seeks to remove the special prosecutor from office shall submit a petition to the president. Where the president receive a petition for the removal of the special prosecutor, the president shall, within 7 days, refer the petition to the Chief Justice, who shall, within 30 days, determine whether there is a prima facie case. So I'm pointing this out to say that even the determination of prima facie, to say that this is a justiciable case, is not something left to the president. It's left to the Chief Justice. And the Chief Justice, as the leader of the court, which is equally implicated in this case, perhaps has biases or, wouldn't, I'm thinking, would they be fair? Would you be fair as a judge in your own court? Because this is where they are almost a subject in the case themselves, right? Because Kwesi Ajaben is accusing them of partiality, now favoring him sort of when he brings cases out. Most of the cases I've read that Amidu actually presented that the courts are between 2019 timeframe to 2021 or so are cases that you could clearly see that the OSP's office made so many mistakes in the charge sheets, so that in fact, if those mistakes are correct, then the court is right in throwing them out or in saying these charge sheets are yes, we can, and moving to dismiss those cases. Some of the cases, my understanding is Kwesi Ajaben himself represented the opposition, the parties in those cases. So he had conflict of interest. So there's just so much in there from what Amidu has put out. Let me take what you're understanding or what you get from those cases and what your position is. Do you think necessarily that our justices would have the impartiality necessary to kind of oversee cases involving themselves? Let's start from Paul. Well, I can see Paul. Paul, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right. Let's start from. Well, since we have.
So let me just state on record that it's not Kwesi Ajaben, it's Kisi Ajaben. That's his name.
Kisi Ajaben.
Because I went to school with him, and I know him, and he's an academician. And you remember when this appointment was made, I stated that I was not going to make any comments, but I'm going to wait.
That is the question right now, because his prosecutorial skills seem to be under fire right now.
No, don't worry. I stated I was going to wait for me to observe him for some years. And I think, brother, if I will remember that, I made this statement. For me, let me put it on record. I mean, this is selective justice, okay? Akufo-Addo has gotten a lot of petition on his desk about the electoral commissioner, about some of the Supreme Court judges. As we speak today, those petitions has been thrown to the dustbin. How come that Martin Amidu brought a petition against Kisi Ajaben, and that petition was transmitted within some few days that it was received? This will tell you for a fact that Akufo-Addo knows that Kisi Ajaben is causing disgrace to his government. Let me also put on record that today, a learned lawyer Martin Pebu, stated on record that it was a fact.
Let me stop you right there, right?
Okay.
Kisi Ajaben himself admitted on 29th November in that press conference he held that several senior members of the bar have reached out to him, advising him that his conduct is inimical to the office that he holds.
Alfred,
If you
let
have
me. I'll get there. I'll get to
right.
his conduct.
So it's not. So I'm saying that to say that the magnitude of petition, the weight of the petition brought against him is heavy.
Nothing in that
it's big.
petition that Amidu sent. That petition that Amidu sent is dead on arrival. But because of political interest and because the president knows that he's corrupt, his officials are corrupt, the president wants to use Amidu to get rid of Kisi Ajabin. That is all this case is about.
Paul, I don't know that if you read this whole thing, right? Amidu is complaining that even Kwesi Ajabin is selective in the cases that he brings about. So if anything, perhaps Kwesi Ajabin is doing the president's bidding. Why would the president be interested?
It is not true.
Well, if he's selective, hold on. This is I think Amidu has more, is in front role of this. He's the previous
Amidu
was an attorney general of the Ghana. Okay.
Amidu has no case.
Lawyer.
Amidu has no case. The case is dead on arrival. Okay.
Yeah,
the issues. Can I make my case?
Step back. I want to make sure we are on the same page as we move through the case, right?
Yeah, we are on the same page, but don't try.
We cannot say Amidu is now. Amidu, we cannot make those comments about Amidu, right? Because here's Amidu.
Who is he that we cannot make this comment about it?
He's the former attorney general, the former special prosecutor.
Please. Is it not the same? Is it not the same Amidu want to start in front of the committee when he was appointed as the special prosecutor? And they asked him that you made a lot of allegations about the former President former President Mahama. Prove it, and he said that, it was ESA. Is it not the same Amidu you are talking about?
Well, when you say hearsay, right? Can
you allow me to make my submission? I am saying over here on authority that when we come to the special prosecutor's office, since it was created, the tenure between Amidu and the tenure between Kisi Ajabin, I'm setting on record that Kisi Ajabin has performed far, far, far better and has, try to go or investigate more cases than Amidu, which is a threat to Amidu.
How do you reach this conclusion that he's performed far better? I want some facts.
Alfred, as a matter of fact, it is part of the mandate of the special prosecutor, okay, to every 6 months present cases that they are pursuing, cases that they are investigating to the general public. Is it a fact or not a fact?
Yes, that's part of the provisions of the Act 959.
Which Kisi Ajabin has been doing day in, day out. Okay?
No, what Kisi Ajabin has been doing is more than that.
Alfred, we, the people, employ them, we pay them. So if the people is giving information to the people, I see nothing wrong with it. That's number one. Number two, I am stating over here that Amidu saying that he asked for information about those people who work in the office, they are how they got there, those information that I'm not giving to him as one of the staff is dead on arrival. Because you know what? That is why we have information, they pass the information right bill. If you seek information and the special prosecutor is telling you because of the sensitive nature and the security aspect of the day, I can't provide that information. What are you supposed to do as a former attorney general, which you claim is a learned lawyer? What were you supposed to do? You were supposed to petition the human right and the information, the right of information office to request that they give you that information. For me, that petition.
No, hold on. When Amidu was in office, the Right to Information Act was not in effect. So you cannot say that an act that came into being after he left office.
Alfred, you are confusing the situation.
You
are confusing the situation.
There was no such thing.
I am talking about the petition Amidu sent against Kisi Ajabin. And one of the allegations is that Amidu requested around 2020, he requested that Kisi Ajabin should furnish him with information.
Kisi Ajabin was not the special prosecutor until 2021. So why are you saying?
So hold on. So it's 2021. Yes, 2021
was not.
No, okay, it's 2021. So Amidu is saying that he wants Kisi Ajabin to furnish him with information of the employees he employed when he became the special prosecutor.
No, he's saying that he should produce that now. Now,
You should produce that
saying
now.
that
Exactly. Exactly. You should produce that information now. And then Kisi Ajabi is saying that they are not going to produce that information. And I am saying, as a lawyer, a learned lawyer, which you have claimed over here, if you think you have issue, there's a right of information bill. Why won't you go to that channel to get that information? This petition is dead on arrival, and it is so painful that Amidu is allowing the serpent, chief serpent of corruption, to use him to go after his predecessor. I am also stating over here that if you are talking about the tenure of Amidu as compared to Kisi Ajaben has performed far better than Amidu, and I think that is I don't know how to say it, hatred or something that Amidu did not like, because if you remember, day one when they appointed Kisi Ajaben, Amidu has been on this guy. He's a young boy, he's a small boy. Try to castigate him, try to attack him and all those stuff. So for me, Amidu's petition is dead on arrival, but also I'm stating over here that Akufo-Addo had wanted Kisi Ajaben to resign few months ago, and he refused to resign. So when this petition got to Akufo-Addo, he quickly
no. So hold on. Akufo-Addo is an appointing officer, right? He cannot want you to resign and you say you're not going to resign. You know that. So careful what you
Akufo-Addo
say.
was impressing on him to resign, and he refused to resign.
I mean, the president can't ask you to resign, and you cannot say, "Oh, I'm not going to resign."
Because that office, the president cannot tell him to resign from that office. You cannot remove him from that office unless you go through the very provisions in the SP Act to remove him. You cannot ask him to resign. You cannot.
Right. You have to impeach him. Okay.
So when Akufo-Addo told him to resign, he refused to resign. So when this letter got to Akufo-Addo, which is baseless, doesn't even make sense. I'm not a lawyer. You are a law student. I'm not a law student. After reading the 4 points that he raised, none of them make sense to me. Akufo-Addo sees the sense in it to transmit it to the Chief Justice.
I see a lot of basis for prima facie case to be found.
Which basis do you see? What basis do you see in it?
Okay, I can walk you through it.
Okay.
When you have a case in front of the court, right, and you file an appeal, it's not up to you to go and tell the media how the judge in the high court ruled, because that is for an appeal court to determine. Right?
If the judges are the judge ruled in a case and the judge didn't give the right to judgment, you have every right to comment about it. And that's what Kisi Ajaben did.
Not when you appeal the case.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because judgment has been given. Judgment has been given, and Kisi Ajaben has every right to castigate and comment about the way those judges are handling sensitive, national issues.
No, and there's much more, right? It matters that when
and
you are
hold on. Amidu is saying that Kisi Ajaben is castigating the judges, and then talking against the judges. Did Amidu call Akufo-Addo mother serpent of corruption?
That's not Akufo-Addo is not a judge. But let's go back to. I mean, I think there's your understanding of this thing perhaps is not very clear.
No, it is you. It is you who understand it's not clear.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you that Akufo-Addo transmitted this document. He knows very well it's a
already have 10
document
minutes,
on arrival, but he allowed it. I am saying that Kisi Ajaben has not done anything wrong. You Amidu
did things wrong. Even
he
I was
done anything wrong. He has not done anything wrong.
I was complaining about Kisi Ajaben before when he did that 29th. When he did that 29th press conference, even I was complaining about him.
Alfred, let us not support the mother serpent of corruption president to cut Kisi Ajaben out of office because he's coming after them. He's going after Sisi Adapa. He's going after his members of parliament. He's going after his party people. That is why they want to get him out of office. Don't support this thing. Alfred, be very, very balanced and in the middle. And let's look at this case with a critical eye that if we do this thing, it means the fight against corruption is come to an end in Ghana. This is the way.
Okay, so you understand a little bit of law, right? Me being a law student, you understand a little bit of law.
No, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to say.
I'm trying to. So you are making some comments. So I want to walk you through this, right? So one, if you have a case in court, right? Let's say so you go from high court to appeals court to the Supreme Court. If you have a case in court, high court that you lost, what are you supposed to do after that?
You have to appeal. But after the judgment, you can comment about the case. You have every right to comment about the case.
No, not. So there's no. We call it res judicata. There is no finality of the case until it reaches the Supreme Court, right? Case is not finalized, especially if you appealed. You've already put your application. You have already appealed the case. You filed
Are you telling me that because he has put in an appeal, he has no right to comment about the case? Is that what you are telling us as a law student?
No, he can comment about the case,
Okay.
but he cannot criticize the judges because the judgment he got does not favor him.
I didn't know human being. I didn't know human being just like me and you.
But when you do that, right, that's what he's saying, that you are making scurrilous statements and scandalizing the judiciary.
Forget about Amidu.
Because the fact that judgment hasn't gone in your favor doesn't give you the right to. Judgment can always go. If judgment goes against your favor, there is 3 more rounds.
You are a law student, and I think you want to use this case to tell us your law. The details of your way you understand the law.
You think that's why I'm doing it?
I respect that, but I am telling you that. Kisi Ajaben, to my opinion, in my view, has not done anything wrong. That petition is dead on arrival.
Akufo-Addo capitalized on the petition. But
Akufo-Addo capitalized on the petition because he wants to oust out Kisi Ajaben because he's coming after him.
Paul, do you think I'm arguing this with you to show you how much of law I know?
No.
Okay, great. So don't say that again, because you just made it that I'm a law student and I'm trying to flex how much law I know. That's not why I'm doing this.
I'm saying that you are because I saw this show. To tell me the terms. You are using your terms, your logic, you understand? That is your logic. We are talking about, natural logic. We are not talking about legality over here. We are not talking about law. But
this matter is about legality. And also, I'm quoting from when I say scrupulous and scandalizing.
You see that big
Amidu's words. Those are Amidu's words. I'm quoting for you.
Amidu is a disgrace. Amidu is a disgrace. It's a shame.
Again,
and I'm disappointed that Amidu is doing this to his predecessor. Why did he run away from the office?
You can't be making those claims that Amidu is a disgrace.
Why did he run away from the office? Why did he resign? If you think he could have done the job, why did he resign?
He told you he resigned because of his ethical and moral.
No, because Akufo-Addo is a mother of all corruption.
If that is the case, right, then he's telling you that this guy is actually picking cases based on interest, right? Shouldn't you be interested in him being canned because Akufo-Addo is using this guy? But you are here rooting for the guy.
It's a record that Kisi Ajaben or Kisi Ajaben's grant is going towards the NDC members, is going after the MPP members. And because Akufo-Addo don't like it, is going after the MPP members. That is why they are doing everything possible to get out of office.
There are clear cases of Ajapa that we wanted this guy to investigate. He hasn't. Is he going against the NDC MPP members?
Alfred, I'm not praising Kisi Ajaben. No. Let me set the record straight. I'm not praising Kisi Ajaben because I have a lot of issues with him.
But it's been 15 minutes.
I have a lot of issues with him. I have a lot of issues with Kisi Ajaben. But I'm saying in these instances, he has not done anything wrong. That's all I'm saying. You know how
you are not giving any basis for what he has not done wrong. You're just saying
he has not done
all the is about bashing Amidu, but you're not giving me anything to tell me that he has, because this guy is going to do press conferences and is prejudicing, is inciting the public against the judiciary.
His press conference to brief the general public about he's doing.
But that's not what he's doing. He's doing more than briefing.
His job duty.
He's doing a little more than just the briefing. Okay, let me move.
I mean, that's your opinion, but that's not my opinion.
Well, if you hear what he says, because I actually queued a video to play, but of course we're having video difficulties. If you hear what he says, this guy is offline completely.
Alfred, that is your angle of view. That's your point of view.
If he has an argument to make, it's not on the media. He should be making it in courts. Shouldn't he?
Alfred, there's nothing you can do for you to convince me that Amidu is right. I'm telling you that petition Amidu sent is flawed. Akufo-Addo knows it is flawed, but because Akufo-Addo wants to oust out Kisi Ajaben from office because he's coming after her Cecilia Dapa and her members of parliament, Akufo-Addo wants to get him out so that he stop chasing Cecilia Dapa. That is the fundamental of the issue. Nothing more, nothing less.
Let's go to Afa Mayor. Afa, let me bring you to the front and center so we can see you as you talk to us, right? Afa, I'm not saying Amidu is right. I think Amadou is pissed. If you read Amadou's petition from the beginning, from the right go, some of the words he used, like against his successor, kind of just tells you his bias, right? Amadou is really biased. Amadou really doesn't like this guy. And it showed, right? But at the same time, on the face of the petition, I think there's prima facie here. Should Kwesi Agyebeng be removed?
Thank you very much, Amadou, for the opportunity. You see, this office is new, right? And anybody who comes to that office should take his time to really establish the foundation and his grip on the Ghanaian society. Amadou failed because he rushed. This guy is failing because he's also behaving like the way Amadou behaved when he was.
I don't buy that statement.
That's fine. That's fine. We can disagree on that. Right. I perfectly. I don't have a problem with anybody saying what I said is the opposite. I don't have a problem, but that is how I see it. You came into the office.
That also, you can't just again saying somebody will rush. That's conclusory, right? What did he rush in doing? So those blanket statements and just get away with it's not the way to argue.
So you see, you know, and I know I've done a little bit of law. I'm not a lawyer, but you see, they are handling criminal cases. It is not civil. Civil, you go and make whatever, and then you pray the judge. It is sympathy and all those kind of things boiled up in there. Whatever, these are completely two different law practice. This you are handling criminal cases. Matters of corruption, okay? So when you go and you make an allegation against somebody, there is a strict way you go about it, okay? That whatever you are bringing, it is not conjecture, speculation, and all that kind of stuff, okay? And then you also know that in law, when you are making an allegation against somebody, the person has equal right to fight back. And then there is the person there called a judge who decides based on the presentation of the case. So when you have gone to present a case, you think which lawyer will go to court and think that the case that they are presenting is not good? It is here and here.
Yeah, and especially in criminal cases, the burden is such that they have to prove, beyond reasonable doubt, which is like very high power.
So, and then when you are there, somebody gotta say you are right and that is right, or the case is this and blah blah blah. Okay. Now, in the court, right? Because we know that there may be, whatever, the judge may be biased, whatever, so they are layers. I am talking about Kishi's frustration with regards to his press conference and stuff like that. I was totally disappointed. It doesn't matter how many times you've lost as a lawyer. It doesn't matter. The question is that in which of the cases did he go through the system all the way up to the end? Not even one of them. Not a single one of them. When he made his press conferences, he mentioned 4 cases based on which he said there was a trend of dismissiveness. Okay, dismissiveness based on what? Okay, and sometimes you see, if you really want to build a structure, you take your time to educate, kind of engage people in society, because our perception of how this is functioning is all different. It is not like the thing existed already.
As a prosecutor, he didn't have a better attitude towards the courts,
Exactly. And that is where Paul is now getting. You see, if Paul, if you are making a commentary about the court, it is different when Sami Jemfi or a lawyer is making a commentary about the court. More so when as a lawyer, you have not exhausted all the layers. You don't know what will happen when you appeal.
He's not just a regular lawyer making a comment. He's the prosecutor on the case.
Yes.
He's the prosecutor on the case. So for him, whatever he says, even outside of court, it almost sounds like he's saying it in court.
Exactly.
You can't be out there with a case which you kind of appeal to a court to look over, be in the public in the name of, oh, by the way, I have this mandate to disclose to the public. So you are telling the public, oh, but the judges are misbehaving.
Exactly.
The judges are ruling against you because one, you haven't filed a proper application. 2, there are grounds on which you should tell them that the clients that you brought there to be prosecuted, some of them you represented them when you were in private practice. Yes. So some of these things that Amadou is saying needs focused mind in kind of sort of sorting through. You just don't do this emotionally, right?
Paul, Alfred, you are not. There's a part we are not. when he made a press conference, right, it was not even about commentary on the judgment. He said that people have told him that there are some of the judges who are saying they will gang up against him. That's a serious allegation. That the judges have sat down and they've told somebody to tell him that they will make sure when the cases come, he's going to throw it away. That is a very serious indictment on the court. It is different from, oh, I disagree with the judge on blah, blah, blah. He's saying that he is getting the dismisses because the judges have put in their mind that irrespective of whatever you bring, because of your posturing and what you're doing, we are going to dismiss all your cases. This thing needs to be investigated. If
okay, but
true,
let me ask you this. Do you believe that judges compromise in this case because it is their judgment and their behavior, attitude, whatever ganking up thing you are saying?
Hello?
Yeah, if I make your point, I think he freezed, so we can continue.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you see, for you to go, if you when as a public official, you've heard these very serious allegations coming, you don't go to the public and say, you see, you write to the appropriate authorities, the Chief Justice, and then you tell the person that, you know, this is dangerous. I need to. And then, you know, out of the blue, we all come up with what is the best way out. That is a very, very serious allegation. So bringing the court into disrepute is not just about commentary, but you've made serious allegations against judges. That the judges are there and they don't like you, and so they're going to make sure they take care of you, and that you are not going to win. Now, Paul was speaking as if we are here to discuss petitions, and that a petition has been sent and what not. I mean, that we are not here to look at the president and what he's doing right and what he's not doing right. A petition has been sent to him and he's forwarded it. If there are petitions that have been sent to the president and people have not heard, go and deal with it. Go and find a way to deal with all those things and stuff like that. Now, me sitting here, two of the things in the allegation, in the petition are very serious. One is the
My internet went out, so
okay. Yeah, can I continue or you
Go ahead, Paul.
yeah. So two things are very serious here. The issue about the allegation against the court is a very serious one, and then the procurement issues, they are also serious. Other things I find them to be flimsy, but you see, flimsiness, we can sit here and say flimsy, but you know, people are really going to investigate and see which laws or which
the procurement one, like Paul is saying, these things are available to Amidu at Right to Information Act. If he wants, he can get those information there, right? So it's not, we can't carry an allegation on procurement for the lack of knowledge of Amidu. Amidu is perhaps not aware of how those cars are purchased, because perhaps if he gets that information, it will clarify to him that they probably were done correctly. Because are you telling me the president was asleep and this guy just went and spent a whole bunch of money buying 50 cars? So that part of it is not the most important part, just to point out that.
Yeah, but you see, everything that, okay, so one thing where we have to know is that when allegations are made, right, we can sit here and say this is flimsy, this is blah 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 blah. Mind you that now the committee that will sit on these allegations are really going to go and find out the real details of it. And at the end of the day, we'll make a determination, oh, this is important, that is not important. You have questions to answer here and here and here and here. Okay,
yeah.
So we here can have all those preliminaries. But you see, we have a
there's
system.
No committee formed yet, right? Because they have to
we have a system that works. And sometimes when these things come, when we jump into conclusion, when people are called into court, when people are sued and all these things, and we come here dead on arrival and all, we can make all those cases, okay? We sat here, you can make dead on arrival before you realize somebody is going to jail, okay? Sometimes we shouldn't just run into conclusion. Me, I was with high hopes for Amidu and for this guy, but his behavior on the job, it took my love for him off. Okay, so I believe that such people, when they are there and we are not really seeing results, get out, someone else will come in and fix the job. You are not there to complain. A lawyer who complains, go and get the job done. Go and convince the judge that you have a case for which you should be heard. You don't come to the media space, the court of public opinion, and be playing on our emotions. That's not what you need. At the end of the day, we need all the corrupt cases and all that thing that have been there to be taken off our head. Now, this idea of we come here, if Martin Amidu, if Mr. President wants to do anything, you think the first person to get in touch with is Martin Amidu? You see, I am happy this petition is even coming from the camp of the NDC. And now NDC, for whatever reason, want to disown Martin Amidu. When Martin Amidu said, mother serpent of corruption, that one day, yeah, he's a hero. He has made a good point. When he said he has identified the Airbus person, the government official one, then he's incompetent. Then he's not good. When this is not favor you, then he's not good. We cannot pick and choose. You see, we have a system that runs. We have officers and we have institutions.
Just Mr. Amidu, right?
You say what?
It's not only just him, Mr. Amidu, because Jaben himself acknowledged in that 29th November press conference that senior members of the bar, a whole lot of them have been reaching out to him, counseling him on his utterances, right?
Yes.
Jaben couldn't be the only smart lawyer we have in Ghana. So if a whole bunch of lawyers are telling you, listen, we read this act, the things you're pronouncing are not right, Jaben should have listened. I don't know why he didn't listen. And then all of a sudden we want to back him up to say this guy goes and kind of uses the platform to bully judges. It's not good.
I'm with you. I have about 2 minutes to
okay, so let's give the platform.
So I won't say much. I think if I just characterize my thought processes very well, but you see, my difficulty is that I'm always patient with especially this new creation, right? Because I know it's something that we're trying to use to solve a problem, and the problem, as we know it before, it was hard to prosecute these politicians. They would just be crying political witch hunting. But since they're coming into force of this office, I feel like that sentiment have died down a little bit, right? But there will be challenges here and there, and I was surprised about the special prosecutor. I'm not a lawyer, but some of the things that he tries to play in the public space gets me worried, right? And I don't know. This is not the announced cases that he used to lead. Those days are gone. So the standards and the requirement for dealing with political exposed person, it's usually very tough. It's not easy. It's not an easy task. Remember, what is the name? Mr. Dumer told us that if you try to fight corruption, corruption will fight you back. Right?
Exactly.
So already you are entering into a territory that is so dangerous. That is so,
But for him, right? It's not even the merits and the thing. It's just he need to be patient and go through the process.
Yes.
It's the process laid out, right?
Yes.
You appeal a case, go through the process and get the case all the way to its finality. If it doesn't go in your favor and you have this 6 months reporting to do, once the case is finalized, you can come and tell us what happened, right? Yeah. And we'll have the judgment to read so that when we are listening to you, we are not only listening to you, we are also listening to what the judges have put out,
Exactly. And I fear the antagonism that he created between himself and the judges. It's not helpful. Even if you disagree with them strongly, you don't say those things in the public place because these judges, they are human beings. So if you go to court in a little thing that they may have to just technically even give you leeway to correct or stuff, they'll be hard on you. And it can be very frustrating when you're in the Supreme Court or you're in the court and the people that have authority to make a decision on your cases are being hard on you.
It's not even him going to the court. It's his prosecutors who work for him who go to court and they find difficulties because their boss is making pronouncements.
Exactly. So you kind of make their work very difficult. Something that would have just been a simple agreement between them and the court to resolve. The court will have a different attitude towards you. And that's why the practice of law is not just the knowledge, your demeanor, your relationship in the court and the way you conduct yourself. It's all add up to the totality of the way you execute or you prosecute your case in this instance. It's a very hard job, but I think that at this point.
So let me ask you the question then. Should he be impeached? Should we get rid of this guy?
I don't see any strong basis as of now, unless the committee that is set up to look into it really is able to convince me.
There hasn't been a committee yet. It goes to the Chief
Yeah,
Justice for the
chief,
chief to find a prima facie. So once the chief says, I found a prima facie, then a committee gets set up.
Okay.
And then we go from there.
Yeah, you should look into that and convince me more. But I think for this initial lapses and stuff, if he's been told, he should correct it and get back and do a proper job. And I think he has the support of people. For people to even call you and tell you that they want you to do what, you see,
Right.
they are not against you. And because in his absence, who else are we going to bring in here? Anybody that comes here will still come and face these challenges. So just
Bring
be better,
if I may out.
just be better at what you're doing now and listen to what your other senior colleagues at the bar are telling you, because they are observing you from an outsider perspective, right? So I think that he should take that on board and correct some of these mistakes, and let's move on. We cannot play politics with this again, because the if we don't get this office to work,
But the allegations that he's taking bribe and not bringing certain cases.
that is serious. That is
That's
really
serious.
We need to those people who make those allegations, we shouldn't let them go away with it, because this can be corrupt people trying to fight you. You get what I'm trying to say? So we shouldn't just let people pass these allegations and just get away with it. We should push them to it and let them prove it. And if that is the case, of course, then his position is untenable. He cannot be in that office. Ajabin cannot be in that office if these allegations are true, because you are here to be accountable.
There's if you read again towards the end of Hamidou's petition, there he says there are, of course, we are basing this off the Hamidou's petition, right? I have no personal knowledge of these things myself, so let's put that disclaimer out there.
That's why I want us to go through the process and see what the facts the state and what it is for. So
right.
Yeah. So Paul, thank you so much, and everybody.
Yeah, thank you. We're gonna wrap up on this topic anyway. We wouldn't take the other two, probably reserve them for next week. But so FI, you were making a comment before I got so FI, the thing is, my do you trust that this judge and our constitution, it says that it says the petitions go through. Matter of fact, the act says that these things go through the judge, the chief justice, right? And there are cases that this guy complained about that are in front of people who then got elevated to higher positions in the court system. Do you trust that he will get a fair hearing?
You see, I will come to the issue about natural justice and if he's going to get a fair hearing. But I want to deal with certain issues right here. For instance, you see, there are certain allegations. Let's just throw them off. Paul made this allegation that the president had wanted him to resign. These are, you see, come on, let's just put all.
We don't have any basis for that.
We don't have any basis for this and all that. Now, you see, the Cecilia Dapas case, right? Before if you read the charge, whatever he forwarded to the Iyoko, right? The only thing that he found was the issue about where the money came from. He cleared him of all corruption related whatever, and then said, okay, the source of the money may be fishy, so investigate the issue about the money laundering thing. And I think that part we need to really visit. Take this.
I think his beef was that he wanted to keep the accounts of Cecilia Dapa frozen, but the courts unfrozen.
Yeah.
It needed to be because the court didn't think that he has a support. He has done enough investigation to kind of provide any backing for why they should freeze it. And he thinks that the freezing is part of the investigations, right? Yes. But if you are so my question then is, if you are investigating an act that has already occurred, why do you need to freeze my money so that I can get business out of my account going forward?
For you to do investigation,
you can go and collect all the records from the past,
right?
And look at those records. That's the record you need to kind of actually put your things together. Not my money that I have now, unless you are saying that you want to secure the bounty so that should you get a judgment against me, the money is there for the state to take. If that is the case, that's a different matter, right?
Exactly.
But to the point that you can stop any operation from that account, that I find problematic, you know.
Well, one thing that he knows, one thing he knows is that the investigation ought to be legal. Else, all the evidence you will gather, if the court find a process, you see, they don't know that all these processes they use to acquire information, they have to be legal. Else, when you go to the court, they will throw it away. They will throw all these things away. So there are laws governing all these kind of stuff. You cannot use this means. You cannot.
All right. It appears we lost Afa there. Afa, you probably getting a call, right?
So
okay, yeah.
Sorry about that.
So we can.
I had a call.
Yep.
So to just quickly wrap it up. So all these things are important. And one thing that we and I'm gonna state it again. You see, in legal matters, the end is the court. Okay, and over the court there are layers. When you go and the judge says this, if you don't go and quash it, that is what we're gonna work with. So you can sit down as a lawyer and make all the noise on radio. Once the pronouncement has been made, if you don't quash that pronouncement, that is what works. It becomes a precedent, and they're going to be quoting it based on which they're going to do whatever. So if you're a lawyer and you know that a particular process is not right, it is not the way you should go all the way to the end. And then once you are there, and then you know that you've gone through different lawyers and they all kind of think the same from the lower court, then we go with it. That is what we have. That is in the opinion of them. That is how we're gonna. Now, one thing that I want to know is how is he selecting which cases to do swiftly and which one not to? These things are all very, very.
Somebody has a publication for that as well. He called it.
These ones are all very, very important. But the most important thing is that you see sometimes when people think that, oh, you think there's a particular problem and this person is the problem, and that we brought the person to law is not sympathy. That you see when he made his press conference and he said that a murderer will be walking on the streets of yes, if there's a murderer and you don't have evidence to prove that he's a murderer, you don't just go to court and say I think he's a murderer and then they put him in jail. No, when there's a thief, when there's a criminal, when somebody has committed an offense, and you just sit down there and you say, I think, you just go there and you are not able to convince the court, the person will walk away.
I think the example he was
to know that.
The example he was citing there is in the case of Charles Bissiou, who he wanted to arrest. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Charles Bissiou's lawyers filed an injunction, to prevent him from arresting Charles Bissiou for 10 days, which the court granted.
Yes.
And he was mad about that. He says that in that case, the courts can clothe any criminal with immunity from being arrested, which is fair.
Wrong. He was wrong on that.
No, it's fair for him to say that, but
no,
here's
he was
the
wrong.
thing.
He was wrong because you see, when somebody has gone to court, that it doesn't mean, you see, when you say somebody has been clothed with immunity.
So, perhaps there are other human rights situations, like maybe Charles Bissiou is sick.
You see, in the Charles Bissiou case, right?
Yeah.
Charles Bissiou went there and he said, no, I have not run away, that I will tender myself in. And he tendered, you see, he shouldn't come and be singing his story. Charles Bissiou actually tendered himself into the special prosecutor, didn't he?
Right. But if the fact that you tender yourself in, you, the accused, don't dictate what the prosecutor wants to do with you.
But the accused has the right to do.
The accused has the right to challenge his arrest in court, of course.
And that is what the accused did.
So he went to the human rights courts.
Yes.
And I don't know the substance of the discussions at the human rights court, but if it is based on some health issue or some family things that he needs to take care of, that is so, germane to human rights, his right as a human being, that caused the court to say, at least give him 10 days. The court is not saying indefinitely.
Exactly.
But apparently, he also made a comment that the court came back and say, cease and desist from investigating this individual. So that, again, it's problematic, if the court is actually doing that. So, again, my hope is that he will have the opportunity to lay his case in front of the petition committee, if one gets formed eventually, So we'll hear more, because I don't think he, as an astute lawyer as he is, will be making these pronouncements in public without actually having strong evidence to back them up. So there are interesting days ahead of us. What do you say?
Yeah. You see, so the whole point is that the happiness I have in this is that he will. It is not. You see, it is not one man show where the president receives all these allegations and makes a decision. It is taken through a process. You will have the time to also come and tender in your evidence based on which, if there are more, because the press conference was limited, so maybe you couldn't lay all of them down. If you can get some of these people to back you up with more evidence and stuff like that, I'm sure he's gathering all of them so that we can have. It doesn't mean that what somebody has filed a petition, you are going to be, we are going to get the information and stuff like that. But Alfred, my difficulty is that as a lawyer, there are layers. See, you have to go all the way to the end, and then you can draw your conclusion is that, okay, then there's a trend. Because we've seen people go to high court or go to circuit court or, much lower court, and then as they go higher, the case get quashed or it is confirmed. We have, even in medicine, we have second opinion. You go here, this doctor says this, you go here and he says, no, it's not. Or, oh, yeah, you need this. Then you know that, this is maybe something I have not paid attention to. But you attempted once and you are drawing conclusion that based on this, you are never going to have justice. I don't think it works like that. More so when it is new, most of the things you are doing are, people are used to getting arrested by the police or Yoko or no, that all of a sudden you have this person, people tender themselves in, you say you are under arrest, and you see we are receiving all manner of new stuff, and people, the reactions were different.
Let's take last word from Paul.
People turning themselves in and they being told that they've been arrested, it's a normal thing. This is nothing, because if you are invited to the Special Prosecutor's office, when you go there, they have to let you understand that at the moment you have been arrested, you are under arrest, and they have to interrogate you. After they finish interrogate you, they let you go off, or you sign a bond. Somebody come and bail you.
Fair enough.
Okay. Let me ask a question to Paul. Paul, does that excuse the person who has been arrested of his right to, appeal his arrest or his right to challenge that arrest in court?
There's nothing that stops it. You can do whatever you want to do.
Okay, so that's what Charles Bisu did, right? He challenged his arrest.
That's what I knew.
The court granted him the court granted him the temporary injunction. So why is Ajabin complaining about that? It's only 10 days. You probably can arrest him after the 10 days. So why is Ajabin in the public complaining about judgment against him, which the Human Rights Court of Ghana, right, the Kaneshi branch, rendered? Why is he complaining about that? Because if he did that, then me, who has a case in front of that Human Rights Court, don't you think I'll be worried that the Human Rights Court is going to be impartial and would not necessarily judge my case well? Wouldn't that constitute scandalizing the courts?
Alfred, I am stating and I'm telling you that Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, and the NPP, they turned the country upside down. Rule of law doesn't work again. That is why all these things are happening. All that I am saying is that, for me, I'm not supporting Kisi Jabin. All that I'm saying is that, looking at the 4 points to which Amidu said that he should be removed from office, it doesn't make sense to me. In my non-legal opinion, which I'm not a legal person, it is dead on arrival because it doesn't even make sense. I don't know what he's looking for. I don't know whether he thinks Kisia Jammeh has performed better than him. I don't know what it is that Amidu's problem is. But it's unfortunate that Amidu, once upon a time, call the president the mother serpent of corruption. He allowed the mother serpent of corruption to use him to oust out his predecessor. Is shameful and nothing good to write home about. That's all I'm saying. And it's unfortunately, but the fact did a lot of legal gymnastic discussion, but he never went to the angle whereby Akufo-Addo is trying to oust the person out of office because the person is coming after his appointee. I didn't see if I commenting about that.
I told you that the president has never met Kisi and has never asked him to turn his resignation.
Anyway, that's his Paul. That's your last words, right? How can we kind of summarize this and then get it?
We closing. Okay.
Yeah,
So
we have two more issues that we need to talk about, but we'll bring them up next week. I think we were very ambitious that we could do 4, but considering
next week,
I think that you need to apportion the time and give us time slots so we can
next week let's put the dollar on board. The dollar, we need to discuss the dollar. I want to hear your first opinion about the dollar.
If you're going to discuss the dollar, take me out and bring Daniel. I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, Daniel is
there are certain things I don't want to have. I will be too political, and I won't be. You see, if I come here and I speak, my party will come and chop my head off. So I don't want to go there. And these are the topics: exchange rates and interest rates.
No, but
oil issues. Since we don't have control.
Besides bringing you to speak for the MPP, we also bringing you for your intelligence as a person. You know.
But here, you see, when I come here, right, certain topics, right. When I come, the way if we want to discuss this nationalistically, I'm all for it. But when I come and Paul is saying, but Wumia said this, and I mean, I can't sit here for him to. I have to find a way to also come in.
I think you can chew both together. You are complicated enough.
Look at you. Look at you.
Because
for me, the interest rate, the exchange rate issues are not something we discarded.
One reason why I love my brother is
they have to fix it. You see, we talk too much on the radio. We are not doing so much. We come radio and talk. No, we are not fixing a whole lot of stuff. We have to fix them. And what we need to fix, we have not even started. So the exchange rate thing, no. And we cannot, you see, the way we've done it over the years, it is not sustainable. We go look for money somewhere. And you see, let me tell you, it is not even about exports. It is about people hoarding the dollars. Okay? Not
like
only
Cecilia Dapa under her bed.
But not only the Cecilia Dapas and all those people in their homes,
right?
But also there are the Goro, the Gawo or whatever. I don't know how the black market.
Yeah.
Man, you know, they have their own banks in their own homes. The amount of dollars they have. That is why you see that when the dollar comes in within a short time, it is off the market. Not because the traders are getting it, but people have actually, dollar number, they go and hoard again. They have the capacity and they have the ability. If we don't check the black market, we are never going to solve it.
That is free market economics for you, right?
I understand that, but it's illegal for you to hoard them.
It's not.
But the people that are hoarding in their homes, I don't have a problem. Do you know that most of these companies, especially, I don't want to mention a certain category of people. We have had cases where they were putting it as if they were exporting cars and tires. They were putting dollars in and getting it out of the country at our expense.
What are you getting out of country? I think it's more profitable to bring it into the country than getting it out, right?
And the foreigners working over there, if they want to send it to their country, how do they do? When people come there and trade, you think they pass through the system?
You keep it in Ghana for some time and then it grows faster than the interest rate is growing.
You see, there are so many things we should be doing. We are not doing. Until we do them, we are going to. You see, we are going to see more. It's going to go up.
Right.
The rate is going to go up, but we have to do something about it because it's affecting trade and it's affecting a whole bunch of stuff. You know, it is not a matter for kidding no more. We have businesses in Ghana that are collapsing.
Yeah, we can have this conversation another day, right? For the dollar, because we know ours is our currency fluctuates very heavily, and and this brings into context this whole ECOWAS currency issue that we should actually sit together as a community and
very important. Yeah, thank you very much for today. We've had a very fruitful discussion. We started with the issue of the allowances and stuff like that. The NDC is not being honest about that discussion. It is very important that you stick to a policy and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with saying this is not necessary. You see, when you were in government, you saw what our national cake was and said, no, this is not necessary, and taking it. If your son wants something and this is bad for my son, that is where we have you as a leader and stuff like that. So stick to that policy and put in the necessary thing to take it off. I believe that these are small. I call them small money. You see, look at how much we spend on MPs. We started with 200 people. Right now, we are all the way 270. We're going to add 275. We're going to add one more to it to go to be 208. And we don't owe any of them.
What do you mean we're adding one more to it?
Oh,
Which one?
SALL will be added to SALL.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, SALL will be added to it to make it. See, we don't owe any MP. We don't owe any minister. We don't owe any people these high places. Now, it is an irresponsible leadership. It is an irresponsible father. It is an irresponsible parent who eats before his children eat. I see these as little monies, the allowances for them, the national. Do you know that when people are, those who do national service, when people are appointed to go and teach and start for the first time, they have to wait for like a year or two before this thing come into work. All these are things we should not be tolerating in the system. We've tolerated these things for far too long. It is bad. It is bad leadership. Okay? And then we come here and we try to justify this is this and that is that. Another thing that we should be looking at is that there are too many loopholes. People are making money out of it. Okay? There are tax loopholes. Look at the exemption they gave to all these companies. So when they what kind of life is that? And then you go and tax the Kayaye. Then you go and tax the Kayaye. This small money. Okay? These are all very bad things in the system we gotta take off. It's not helping us. The Auditor General's report, every single year, money is just flowing out like that. Okay, the leaders are benefiting, and until they fix it, they are the beneficiaries of all these stuff that's going on in the system. So these are little monies we can pay, the allowances for teachers and stuff like that. We can pay. Okay, there are big monies that are being paid. That the ex gratia. Look at the amount of money we spend on ex gratia.
Mama is going to abolish that.
And these people, they're going to abolish what? You see, there are certain things. I want to see the day any party can abolish it. The parliament will simply not.
Mama is going to abolish it. Mama is going to abolish it for
if Mahama would abolish it, he would have done it long time ago. There are certain things we allow them to play the politics. You see, in these elections, right? Let them focus on completing all these projects that are there. Okay, let's pin the politicians to the old promise they've given us they couldn't fulfill. You fulfill the old ones before you add on to the new ones. Okay, let us tell them to make sure that our extractables, we are getting benefit from our extractable stuff. Okay, let us make sure that they are adding value to the things, not talk. That the manufacturing is really, we are adding value to our raw materials. Anything short of that, we are going to experience this Goggisberg economy, and we're going to keep running in circles. They come and go, and the problem will exist. But at the end of the day, if a government has promised and hasn't paid, it is not a lie. Kisia Jabin, if he thinks he hasn't done anything, somebody is following through a process, go there and answer your questions, and then we'll take it out from there. Other than that, Amuzu, this has been a great show. Audience, if we made any comments that didn't go well with anybody, we apologize. We didn't mean to. Sometimes it gets so heated that we go off. Forgive us, and we hope to make this show a great one, so that at all times you can come on and add on to it. Thank you very much for the opportunity. We are here to serve you and not to serve ourselves. We are not service. We are the real leaders. If you were to be in power, things will change. Thank you very much.
Afa Ameya for which constituency again?
Kintampo South.
Which one?
Kintampo South.
Kintampo South.
In fact, I have two constituencies, Kintampo South and Techiman North.
Okay, so Kintampo South and Techiman North. Be on the watch out.
Yeah.
All right. Paul, do you want to agree with Afa? I think you agree with everything he says, right?
Well, I agree with him. The only thing he didn't say was that Nanado is corrupt, Bawumia is corrupt, and that they have ditched the country into mess, and that they lied when they were in opposition and they are in government. They are not doing what they promised to do. That's why they didn't add. So I've added it for him. So apart from that, whatever he said, I agree with him. And
all right,
I hope, and I wish to see him.
But would you maybe he will say, as you are listing the names of corrupt people, you forget Mahama, because perhaps that would be something he would like to add as well. You
Mahama,
agree?
Mahama is never corrupt.
Eba,
Mahama has never been corrupt.
Ambria.
And look at that.
Okay, so this
Who is
argument
government
today, and
official one?
Mahama is corrupt. Somebody will say Mahama is not corrupt, but
You see,
the evidence is in front of the Ghanaians.
this government official one, you are the host. You need to set the record straight.
Right.
In that document, which part of the document was it stated the government official one is former President Mahama?
Who do you think is government official one?
Well,
Because we're looking for the president.
again, this is the same Amidu, right? So Amidu has been a thorn in his flesh for minutes, So
you trust
let's end on that
Amidu
note.
on who is mother's referent of corruption? Who?
Let's end on that note.
Okay, guys. Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Who is government official one?
Thank you so much for coming.
About that.
And, we want to say a big thank you to our audience as well for sticking with us. It's been a long 2.5 hour show, and I want to especially thank my guest, Afa Ameya, who speaks for the MPP, Paul Disosu, who is NDC Massachusetts branch, always kind enough to come and grace our show and discuss with passion his position on the issues we table for discussion. We were lucky today to have Nana Yao Amponsan join. It's usually our finance person, comes in when there's economic heavy questions to deal with. And today we're lucky to have him, and we are grateful. Thank you all for listening, dialing in. Those who didn't watch it live, who will watch it later on, please click the like button and show your appreciation for what we are able to, contribute to the narrative, to the discourse. Please, your comments are very important to us. We want to make this show a great one. So tell us what we are doing right, what we are doing wrong, what we can improve on. We are listening. We are listening show, as Afa would like to say. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. See you next week. My name is Afrana Muzu again. This is Ghana Agenda for May 18, 2024. We'll see you again. Goodbye.